Welcome to Daily Review, your daily dose of literary exploration. We dive into books that spark curiosity and ignite growth. While our passion often leads us to nonfiction reads that empower and improve your life, no book is off limits. From gripping thrillers to insightful memoirs and compelling fiction to historical accounts, we're here to share and discuss all the interesting reads we discover. Tune in for your next great book idea. All right, let's jump right into this deep dive. We're pulling insights today from Ryan Holiday's book, Ego is the Enemy.
Yeah, and our source material is basically a collection of passages straight from the book. We've got bits from the prologue, the introduction, chapter excerpts, covering things like aspiration, success, failure.
Plus some testimonials and lists he includes. And our mission today really is to pull out the most important nuggets. We want to understand how ego, this internal thing, can genuinely hold you back.
Right, at different points in life, whether you're just starting or you're successful or maybe you're facing failure.
The core idea the book puts forward is, well, wherever you are, your biggest challenge, your worst enemy, might actually be inside you. It's your ego.
Exactly. It's about spotting that internal dynamic. And this deep dive should help you get a quick handle on the book's main arguments and maybe some of the memorable stories he uses.
Consider it your shortcut to understanding ego is the enemy. Okay, so let's unpack this.
That's good. Where do we start?
The book kicks off by focusing on what it calls the aspire stage. You know, that time when you're setting out, you've got a big goal, maybe starting something totally new.
And right away, there's a warning. It's pretty loud and clear. Ego is dangerous here. It loves to spin these fantastic stories in your head.
Like a self-delusion.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
It can actually stop you from doing the real hard work you need to do to get where you want to go.
He uses his own story in the prologue, which is quite striking. Dropping out of college, young, like 19, for these life-changing opportunities.
Quick success, youngest executive, working with big names. Sounds amazing, right?
But then, bang, 2014. Major adversity. The company you worked for nearly bankrupt, mentors falling apart, lawsuits.
And that experience, the ambition, the achievement, then the adversity, it clearly shaped how he views ego's role in all of it.
It really drives home that point about how ego can make you confuse the symbols of success.
Oh, absolutely. The attention, the title, feeling important.
With actual success itself. You end up chasing the applause, not the accomplishment.
And this isn't new. The book links it way back to ancient wisdom, like Isocrates advising young Demonicus, ambitious guy like lots of us.
And the advice, it's timeless. Modesty, justice, self-control.
Yeah.
Keep your character grounded.
Avoid flatterers. Be approachable. Think carefully, but act decisively. Good judgment. Train your mind. That whole sound mind and a sound body thing.
This is amazing advice from thousands of years ago. He mentions it even pops up in Shakespeare's Hamlet. It's about staying rooted in reality and integrity.
Which is a big contrast, the book argues, to a lot of modern culture that seems to push dependence on validation, entitlement, being ruled by emotion.
Things ego just loves to feed on.
Exactly. And the book offers General William T. Sherman as a counterexample for this aspiration phase. Not some flashy Napoleon type.
No, his rise was slow, gradual, years learning at West Point, serving across the country.
Even after a defeat at Bull Run, he gets promoted, meets Lincoln. And what does he do? He asks for assurance he won't have to take superior command yet.
Isn't that something? Others are climbing all over each other for rank, and he's worried about being promoted too soon.
His biographer said success felt like a constant surprise to him, tasted cautiously. He had this doubt that wasn't insecurity, but genuine modesty. Poise, not pose.
Tied to reality. Didn't feel entitled, happy to contribute even with less fame. He's presented as this kind of forgotten model.
Yeah, compared to the flashy figures we often remember.
And one way ego trips us up early on,
Yeah.
talking. The book has a section, Talk Depletes Us.
Oh, this is a good one. The idea is that talking about doing something and actually doing it, they pull from the same resources.
Mentally, emotionally. Research even shows that just talking about your goals can trick your brain.
Right, makes you feel like you've made progress when you haven't. It becomes a distraction, especially when things get tough. Talking feels easier than struggling.
It's like therapy for the discomfort of the void, the uncertainty.
Exactly. The book argues real work comes from wrestling with that void, not chatting to make it go away.
You know, the voices of a generation. They rarely call themselves that starting out. They're usually too busy working.
Quietly turning inner turmoil into something real, ignoring the recognition impulse until the work is done. Talking is earned by doing.
This links to another powerful idea from John Boyd, the military strategist. 42nd Boyd.
Ah, yes, the fork in the road. To be or to do.
Right. One path is be somebody. Compromises, clubs, promotions, status.
The other path is do something for a cause, for yourself, your principles. Maybe no promotion, no favors, no compromise. The work might make a difference, but no guarantees of reward.
And the book highlights how incentives, recognition, politics,
Mm-hmm.
they all pull us towards being rather than doing.
And ego loves that deception. Boyd had that stark chalkboard exercise. Duty, honor, country crossed out, replaced with pride, power, greed.
Wow. Ego helps us cross out what matters and swap in what doesn't.
Yeah, it's a sobering thought.
So as you aspire, the book asks you to consider, which path are you really on? Being somebody or doing something? Are you talking or working quietly? It's presented as a critical early choice.
Okay, so what about after aspiration? You've put in the work. Maybe you're successful now.
Right, the success stage.
Yeah.
But the book warns, ego's still there, and success can even feel hollow.
And a key idea here is the need to stay a student, always, no matter what.
The example used is fantastic. Kirk Hammett from Metallica, hugely famous guitarist.
In one of the biggest bands ever.
And he hires Joe Satriani for guitar lessons after he's already famous.
It's wild, right? Most would think, I've arrived. But Hammett knew he lacked deeper understanding, the theory behind it all.
And Satriani's system was tough. Weekly lessons, learn it or don't come back. Hammett stuck with it for 2 years.
Seeking objective feedback, drilling fundamentals, refining his playing, learning to do more with less, focus on feeling.
That student mindset, the book insists, applies everywhere. Science, art, business. You need to know what came before, what's happening now, what's next. Become your own toughest critic.
Because the big danger in success is thinking, okay, done, I know it all now. That's when you become irrelevant. Ego makes you resistant to feedback.
Teachers are everywhere, but the proverb says when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Success makes it harder to be ready.
Another really countercultural idea in this section is don't be passionate.
That sounds wrong, doesn't it? We're always told to follow our passion.
It does. But the book argues passion often goes hand in hand with people who talk a lot but don't achieve much. It gives examples where passion seemed to mask weakness or lead to bad outcomes.
Like the segue, expecting huge demand, or the initial push for the Iraq War ignoring warnings.
Yeah. Or Chris McCandless in Into the Wild, Robert Scott's doomed expedition, Napoleon invading Russia. Examples of passion potentially blinding people to reality or necessary preparation.
So the argument isn't that passion is bad, but that it's maybe insufficient.
Exactly. It's a poor substitute for discipline, mastery, strength, clear purpose, perseverance. The critical work needs deliberation, not just naive enthusiasm.
It might be better to feel humble, determined. Focus on what you must do, not just what you want to do. Talleyrand's quote. Above all, not too much zeal.
So if not passion, then what?
Work. Plain and simple. Work, 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 like Degas said about poetry. Not made with ideas, but with words.
Ideas aren't enough, Henry Ford. You can't build a reputation on what you're going to do. The struggle of doing it is the core.
Fate of Darwin. Working for decades quietly before publishing. Are you willing to sit alone with difficult work? Do you love the practice, the grind, like athletes?
Or are you chasing the quick hit of attention, the validation, like Bill Bradley, practicing alone for hours? Dedication matters more than just feeling passionate.
The idea of easy brilliance is a lie. Ego might give you a boost early on, but it just kicks the real costs down the road. Sherman's quiet discipline built a real leader.
And for a major cautionary tale about success, the book points to Howard Hughes.
Ah, Hughes. Joan Didion's quote about us making him a hero is revealing, isn't it? Says something about our own fascination.
The book calls him one of the worst businessmen, saved only by inherited wealth which let his ego run wild visibly.
Fueled by injuries, addictions. Moments of clarity got rarer. Ego killed him as much as trauma, the book suggests.
We might find the rebel billionaire image attractive, but he died isolated, unhappy, having wasted incredible talent. Aristotle was right. It's hard to bear good fortune well. Hughes couldn't.
His craving for the spotlight, the book says, mirrors tendencies in us.
So the takeaway on success, it's intoxicating, needs sobriety. You can't learn if you think you know it all. Don't buy your own hype.
Remember, you're part of something larger. Build systems around the work, not you. Ego-wrecked Hughes, can you handle success? That's the lingering question.
Okay, so what about when success fades or never comes? What about failure?
Right, the failure stage.
Right.
Whether it's recent or ongoing. And a huge concept here is alive time or dead time.
This comes from Malcolm X's story. Criminal past, 10-year sentence at 21. Deserved it? the book notes. In prison, he faced that choice Robert Greene talks about.
Dead time. Just wait it out passively. Or alive time. Learn, act, use every second.
And Maltham chose a lifetime, taught himself to read by copying the dictionary, read everything, history, philosophy, religion.
Prison became his university. He transcended the physical bars, felt never so truly free. That time made his later work possible.
And he's not alone. Think of Francis Scott Key writing the anthem while detained, Viktor Frankl finding meaning in concentration camps, Ian Fleming writing Chitty Chitty Bang Bang while bedridden.
Walt Disney deciding on cartoons after injury, using hardship as fuel.
The book contrasts this with the typical ego reaction to setbacks, anger, resistance. It's not fair. I want something else.
But failure is framed as an opportunity, a chance to do what you perhaps needed to do anyway. This moment is just a moment. How will you use it?
And dead time isn't just laziness. It's actively reinvesting energy in the old destructive patterns. Dreaming, revenge, distraction, refusing to look inward.
Alive time is turning inward, using the moment for your purposes, regardless of circumstance.
Another really key idea for failure is maintain your own scorecard. The example is General Belisarius.
Justinian's loyal general, won battles, saved the empire, but constantly suspected by the paranoid emperor. Victories undone, legacy tarnished, stripped of wealth, maybe even blinded and forced to beg. Unbelievable injustice.
But his reaction? No complaining. He was just doing his job, his duty. He knew he did it well, did right. That was enough.
He controlled his actions, his ethics, not whether others appreciated it or got suspicious. He accepted the deal. Doing right was its own reward.
Adversity was endurable. Rewards were extra. And the point is, often you won't be rewarded. You might even be punished for doing right. Indignation is easy, but what's the alternative? Do wrong.
So the question for you, listening, will you work hard for something that can be taken away? Invest if the outcome isn't guaranteed praise. Ego screams no.
Ego needs that external pat on the back. The expectation hangover happens when you expect praise that doesn't come.
Think of Diogenes telling Alexander the Great to get out of his sunlight, or Stevenson's quote about laboring hard only to find humanity indifferent. The book says, get ready, it happens. Push through.
Belisarius' strength was, do your work well, then let go. Recognition is extra. Rejection is their problem.
The book also touches on hitting rock bottom, calls them fight club moments.
Could be external shocks, like Toole's suicide after rejection, Rowling's struggles, Charlie Parker getting that symbol thrown at him, or internal realizations, the Greek katabasis, going down to gain knowledge.
These moments often come from outside, force you to face truths you've avoided, but offer a chance for real progress, if you use them right.
Contrast that with John DeLorean. Company failing, he finances a drug deal, arrested, gets off on entrapment, but the video. This stuff is as good as gold. He was in a hole and just kept digging.
Ego asks, why me? How do I save face? It's fear, fighting reality, making it worse.
Compare DeLorean to Steve Jobs after being fired from Apple. Devastated, yes, but then started Nexty, Pixar. Threw himself into new work and tried to learn from the mistakes that got him fired. Worked until he'd resolved those flaws.
Or compare to Dog Charney in American Apparel. Scandals, losses. Rejets offers, tries a hostile takeover, digs in, fights everyone, sinks the company further. Same digging impulse.
Ego prevents processing failure, learning, improving. It keeps you demanding vindication for the past.
And crucial for facing adversity. Always love. Or at least don't hate. The example is Hearst versus Citizen Kane.
Hearst spent fortunes trying to destroy a movie he probably hadn't seen just to protect his image.
What a waste of energy.
Yeah.
And the irony. His campaign cemented the film's legacy and his own negative one.
The danger, especially as you get successful, is feeling the need to fight every perceived slight, protect your image constantly. It's exhausting. Hate consumes you. Let it go. Laugh it off.
Think of powerful people obsessed with minor things. Nixon, re-elected after Watergate broke, but his constant fighting persecuting reporters, his hate fueled the fire that consumed him, did more damage to himself.
It's hard not to lash out, but leaders like Douglas, King, Barbara Jordan, they preached empathy, even love for enemies. King called hate a cancer. It takes stripping away ego to do that. Are you miserable because of others or because your ego insists on it?
Contrast Hearst with Orson Welles meeting him in an elevator, inviting him to the premiere. No hate consumed him.
So how do we combat this ego? The book suggests finding perspective and simplicity. Meditate on the immensity.
Like John Muir in Alaska, feeling that sympathy, that connection to the cosmos. Feeling tiny but part of something vast.
Ego tells us meaning comes from us, our actions being the center, but lacking that connection to the larger world. That's a soul gone missing, the book implies. Ego blocks beauty, history, makes success feel empty.
The exercise suggested: visit an old battlefield, a historical site. Feel the continuity. Others were here. Sense the scale. Ego seems impossible then. Emerson. We're all quotations from our ancestors, pieces of a process.
Neil deGrasse Tyson's point, small but also big because we're connected to the universe. Remember which is bigger, older. Great leaders seek that perspective, that wilderness. Creativity needs receptiveness. Impossible if the world revolves around you.
We often forget the sheer scale of time. Mammoths alive when pyramids were built. Cleopatra closer to us than the pyramids. Trafalgar Square lions from Napoleonic cannons. We are just like those people in old photos.
Even Muhammad Ali saying it's hard to be humble shows it's an active struggle. It's hard to be self-absorbed staring at the stars. Seek that cosmic sympathy.
And Bruce Lee's quote, "The height of cultivation runs to simplicity."
Angela Merkel is presented as a prime example. Plain, modest, quiet, sober, tortoise-like path, didn't flinch with Putin's dog stunt. Firm, clear, patient, compromise, but not on principle. Can't solve tasks with charisma.
Rational, analytical about the situation, not herself. Science background helped. Unpretentiousness as her weapon, like Belichick. Steak business, not sizzle. Steak wins, sizzle distracts.
It takes real strength to withstand prosperity without ego inflation. Live happy, live hidden. The most successful are often unknown, by choice. Modest lives, no artifice.
Remember, Howard Hughes wasn't happy. Offered to swap lives with his aide, betting the aide would beg to swap back.
Katharine Graham again. Not a Hughes. Not taking the easy path. Cushy life, then husband's suicide left her unprepared, timid, in charge of the Washington Post.
Not financial failure initially, but deep adversity. Life-shattering plans. The Goodman, quote, "The ball, the black horseman, clocks without hands. Unpredictable reality."
Graham had natural firmness, faced the board, Pentagon Papers, Watergate, stock issues, hostile investors like Buffett initially, union strikes, sabotage, an exhausting list.
But she persevered. Published the papers, pursued Watergate, turned Buffett into a mentor, won the strike, competitors folded, made billions. One of the best CEOs. A baptism of fire. Could have taken the easy way, didn't.
Coach Bill Walsh said the road to victory goes through failure. Understand it, deal with it, accept it, push through. Graham was often alone.
You could do everything right and still be in trouble. Failure hits good people too. Life isn't fair.
And ego hates unfairness, takes it personally. But it doesn't matter whose fault it is, it's yours to deal with. Ego didn't cause Graham's initial situation, but it would have stopped her success. She needed strength, purpose, beyond herself, the paper, the job. Will your ego betray you in difficulty?
Walsh's 49ers, starting 214 again. Look past the immediate results. See the process. That's how you get through.
Okay, let's try to wrap this up.
So to summarize this deep dive, we've explored how ego works as this internal enemy across aspiration, success, and failure. We've seen it through examples like Sherman's quiet strength, Hammett staying a student, Hughes's cautionary tale.
Malcolm X's A Lifetime, Belisarius's inner scorecard, Merkel's simplicity, and Graham's incredible perseverance.
Key takeaways include that choice. To be or to do. Staying a student, the limits of passion, the need for hard work, the toxicity of unchecked success.
Yeah, and finding opportunity in failure, a lifetime, maintaining your own scorecard, letting go of hate, meditating on immensity, the strength and simplicity.
These ideas aren't about self-criticism, but about recognizing ego's pull and choosing better impulses. Thinking less of yourself, the book suggests, frees you from meaningful work. Thank you so much for tuning in to Daily Review. We truly appreciate you joining us for your daily dose of literary exploration. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue to share these amazing books with you. If you're enjoying what you hear, please consider taking a moment to subscribe, rate, like, and comment on any of the platforms you're listening from. This really helps support our channel and allows us to get better and bring you even more great content. If today's review sparked your interest and you're ready to dive into a copy of the book, please consider using the link in our description to make your purchase. Not only does it make it easy for you to get your hands on the book, but it also directly supports our channel and the author, allowing us to keep bringing you more great content. Thanks again for being a part of the Daily Review community.
And as you reflect on these powerful ideas from Ego is the Enemy, maybe consider this final thought from the source material. The world ultimately won't really notice your anger, your self-pity, or your fragile ego. So
Mhm.
what would genuinely happen in your life if you shifted your focus away from yourself, away from seeking validation, and simply towards doing the right work, doing it exceptionally well, and then consciously letting go of needing control, approval, or even understanding? What might that look like for you starting today?